Aloha, my name is Anna Covert, and I'm coming to you from my battleship here on the beautiful island of Oahu. This week on the Covert Code, the topic is AI driven sales and enterprise growth. My special guest is Dr. Alexander M. Orlando, co founder and Chief Revenue Strategist at AI Labs Corporation. There are 25 years of experience in high impact technology sales and digital transformation. He's here today to share how AI, AGI, and ASI are scaling sales and marketing and becoming a pivotal conversation in achieving market leadership. Thanks so much for being here today, Alex.
My pleasure.
So, to get us started, I'd love to hear a little bit about your professional journey, how you got to where you are right now, and then we'll go into some more of these nerdy questions.
Absolutely. I started actually in security and surveillance, and not this simple security and surveillance. We're talking about satellite security. So there was a lot of technology involved. I was with a couple of companies that were dealing with the DOJ, DTRA, and all this wonderful place. And then from there, we switched into the commercial world, airports. In the airports, we had the flashlight, which is a special type of system that allows you to pinpoint a person, like flashing with the light, and follow that person all over the actual airport, whatever he or she was with. And so it's been unique. And at the time, we did not call this artificial intelligence, but it was kind of like, machine learning. It was really the early stage. Then I ended up joining autonomy. And autonomy was in predictive analytics, was in this kind of realms. And you start to understand the nuisance, understand the peculiarity of everything that goes on in math. Anything that can be logically explained, if you go from point A to point B, I can predict that in a way or another one. I can predict it. So it was fascinating. Instead of to dwell in the programming, I was more towards how can we apply this to the real world? And every single places on the planet where there was an airplane from the United States landing, we were assigned to actually oversee the security and surveillance of this kind of things. The company was huge. It got sold to HP for $11 billion. It
Wow.
was an amazing journey. But you done with that and you say, okay, I want to go to something that's quite unique. And I went into open innovation. It sounds like open AI, but open innovation was ask the public questions that they are not in the field to it, and they will come back with answers that are quite unique. The company was Innocentive, and the company actually got sponsored by Eli Lilly to find alternatives to unique things. You might know the Gillette, the cream that turns from green, it turns white. That was one of the products. From the pasta that lasts a long time, that was another product. More than a product, there was techniques by the population. They knew us. So we are smarter than I was cognated. And that really stepped into it. We had so much knowledge, unique, vast amount of knowledge. How do you deal with all this? And somehow on the back end, there was somebody thinking about intelligence, machine learning, large language model, and then boom, somebody came up with, oh, I got a unique model of AI. We're talking about 10 years ago. Nobody gives up anything. And so they didn't care about it. It was like, AI, what is this? In reality, what we're seeing right now, imagine your brain is a biological function. My brain, your brain, anybody's brain. When you put them all together, what you have is a collective intelligence. You may need something, I may know something, somebody else may know something. We put it all together. Now we have a unique type of set of knowledge. And it's just three of us. Now imagine every single possible knowledge available to humanity, all in one place, that through a large language model can be tapped upon and you get information. Now you have what they call it open AI, very basic, unique infant stage. You ask some questions, it gives you all kinds of things back, but it still is at the early stage. It's not yet mature. What has happened in the past week or so, we are starting to see the jump into AGI. You might not see it, but everybody that actually is into this, they're like, wow, I can actually code an entire app in 30 seconds. I do not need programmers anymore.
Wow.
And we're seeing this because we do programming using AI. So whatever used to cost like $10,000, now for $300 just to actually ink it, you have the actual system in place. Is it still intelligence? Is on the verge of that. And then the next level, which everybody is totally scared about it. It's one thing if you are the smartest person in the room, but if you and a billion people are the smartest person in the room, who's going to be right?
Mm.
So what happens is right now, AGI, which is at the infant stage right now, is wants to become conscious. We call the conscience AI. Right now, they're calling it completely different. But the main idea is to have collective intelligence in the palm of your hand that can think for you. And we're not kidding about thinking for you. It will know exactly what is the best idea for you, what to eat or not to eat, how to lose weight. And that's why I lost, so many pounds is because knowing what type of food based on my blood work, on my gene work, it comes back with something that it might be crazy. But then you see the results and you're like, wait 1 second, this is crazy.
Wow.
So, and then again, this is all beginning. You can create anything.
Two question before, so for our listeners here. So tell us, okay, we know what AI is, artificial intelligence. What is AGI and what is ASI?
AGI is, it's kind of like, I want to call it on steroids, starting his own intelligence AI. Is basically an AI that starts to create a brain. Imagine a child. Once they start to learn the ABC, they put together the ABC song. They go to high school, they go through the college. Now they're able to actually communicate with you. This is happening within the past 6 months. ASI, it's one that teaches itself.
Mm.
So you do not need to program anything anymore. Right now, we have Python, we have Node.js, we have Angular, we have all kinds of programming that are evolving. They're simple syntax. It's like you're teaching a child A, B, C, or 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Now they're going out and say, wait, 1 + 1, yes, is equal to 2. But I can make a nice function that allows you to see something completely different. To some, this is scary, obviously, because you are not, and actually, we're going to go why we do it in sales. At the beginning, when we used to sell things, you got to know the person, you do all kinds of research. Okay, Anna is part of this group. She likes this kind of things. I know some type of things. I'll put it all into Salesforce.com. That was 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Even tell
Now I want to know what Anna likes or dislikes. What kind of tone does she like? What kind of music she likes? What is the presence on Facebook or any social media? And tell me what kind of persona is she? And I will trigger Anna to see something that can relate it because we relate to people when we both talking about the same thing or we have something in common.
yes.
So you click and you say, I like to talk to this guy because she knows what I'm talking about. Um, so with that in mind, if you have that for everyone, then you're able to change. You're able to change your tone. You're able to change the language, the vernacular. Now, Anna is more able to listen to you. You're not selling anything. You're just in communication with her and trying to get her to be an active listener. When you are an active listener, I can tell you anything. And somehow I will tell you those things in a way that you will appreciate it. Hence, you will be more prone to say, I want to do business with Alexander because he understands me, because I'm capable of talking to him. Now, this was done by super unique type of salespeople. They know what they were talking about. They had script. I mean, at times we had the script in front of us telling us, oh, Anna's talking about this, or this guy's talking about this kind of things. He loves soccer. Oh, he loves the actual World Cup. He's going to be at the World Cup because I'm. So you start to actually really communicate. Right now, within the conversation, AI or AGI is capable of dissecting. Your tone is not okay. Change it.
Mm.
Change the way that you actually present. The colors they use on your slide, they're not okay with that person because they do not like this kind of colors. All these things is about understanding, changing, maybe changing, but really directing your mind to be a listener.
Well, I think that goes beyond that because I mean, if we think about just basic translation, talk about language for a minute, right? When we know that when we let Google or whatnot translate something, or even if, like, is it the right word to use in that context? And what people always forget about also is that colors, numerology, even gifts, they are different and people perceive them differently by different culture. Red may not be an acceptable color to show someone in Asia for this purpose,
Right.
right? And so this is a really, really exciting because it can help us bridge gaps and I think become more understanding just in general of each other.
Now, I mean, it's funny actually that you mentioned that because it's something that we're doing today. So the main idea is we created an app that function as a verbal communicator. And you can question this app in any languages that you want. The app will respond to you in the tone, the cadence, and it feels like you're really speaking to somebody that is Italian or Chinese or Spanish. And it's mind blowing because you like your and if you want a female or a male, absolutely. You want a child, you want a middle aged man, whatever you want is happening. So now you have somebody that you're talking to, is your best friend. And you can speak to them in dialects. And that's what we tested because the Italian language is about maybe 50 or 60 different dialects. You go to north and south, everything, the same word changes.
Right.
And the mind blowing is that they capture that.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, how can you? And it's a conversation. It's not, yes, I am talking to you as a robot. No, it's just like a normal
So
conversation.
let me ask you, Alex, so how about like because I'm in communication, obviously, right? How about the transformation of communication? Like now our children are using, emojis, we're using, we're shortening words, we're creating new terms. How is, because what one thing that I always worry about is with AI in general, like we are training it now, right, to be what it will become. But once it starts thinking it can learn itself, how will it know and learn when it's not getting the new feedback on real-time changes happening in the world?
The angularity of all of this, because it's the term actually we use. When you start to train a model, the model itself either gets adjusted by human, that's not right, this is not the right things to say, or is adjusted directly by the machine. Because remember, the machine is a biological function, same as human. You will know when something is right or wrong based on your experience. You will know that if you talk to ChatGPT or Gemini or a Copilot and you start to say something that is not correctly or uniquely correctly, or the place it stops to say, I'm sorry, but I cannot answer that. It's not they cannot answer because it is limitation. When it comes down to how they will know, right now they don't. But within 1 year, you will see that.
Wow.
And maybe even 6 months.
So what it's gonna be doing is, like, looking at, Twitter or other X or other things, and so you can pick up that there's a new term or there's a new
Everything.
news happening.
Anything that is digitized, anything that is traceable, the whole entire internet, if you want to it, all the knowledge that we have on the planet you will become the first percent of everything.
Wow.
And it's not, the two guys, Smith and Eli, one was OpenAI, the other one was Google. They know that this is happening, but you can't stop it. There's not a thing that says, "Oh, we're gonna stop this one." No, because it's evolving by itself.
Mm.
To the point that today on the news there was something, they're starting to trigger the AGIs about to become alive. What is that? Is they're thinking out of the box. Nobody gave it that kind of commands. Why does that happen? It is because it's a genuine biological function.
And it's really interesting to say that. So, because there was a couple, I can't remember how long ago it was, but it was maybe a couple months ago. I was reading this big article about how, they counted up using the word please and thank you in AI and how many, characters that was. And then they equated it to how much extra server requirements it's needing. And that became like a power discussion, right? And since I'm very involved in solar, as you know, and big believer in renewable and all that, I thought immediately, oh, I'm part of this. Like I'm going to stop using those terms, right? And I can contribute to helping save some power. And then I was at this conference, and it was kind of an AI. It wasn't about AI. I was actually speaking at this DigiMarco, and I met with one of the guys who was in charge, and he was really into AI. We had this discussion. He's like, "That's absolutely like incorrect because the only way that this AI is going to become something. We're creating a person. And it won't understand humanity and it won't respect humanity if we're not human to it." And I thought, it made me just feel like, wow, really in touch. And then I was talking with it recently and asking it some questions and being really supportive. Like, that was a great response, or we can do this. And I started to see a change in my response.
It's funny that actually you mentioned the two things that are pivotal to the growth of this industry. The first one is, of course, the chips that we use. The reason why NVIDIA is rocking the world with all kinds of money is because we know that they have something that has to do with AI in the near future. The second one is solar. You need power to power this engine. You like it or not, it's not going to get onto fuel.
No.
Solar is going to be the major part of that. Now, storage and effectiveness of that may be dealt with AI. So AI will know when to top and when not to top it. For now, not yet. But the idea is all of that. So computational power, power to compute, and then the wording that it's all at one point in time coming together. OpenAI and Grok. Grok is a brand new, a lot of people think it's a newcomer, but it's way stronger than OpenAI.
Oh.
They're starting to know that they don't need that much computational power because if it's a biological engine, has already energy. You need fuel to speak to me in your language. So you eat in the morning, you have breakfast, now you're full, and you talk to me. That's energy in a way. AI or AGI in that level will actually absorb this kind of things and has to store all this information into this own biological nature. That changes. That is the actual challenge that everybody is about to face. How do we do this? I mean, how do I put the entire knowledge of humanity, all of it, into one chip? How?
It's gonna be. I'm gonna put a thought out there. I think it's from water. Water is
Well, be
water has the memory of everything in it. Like, it can hold memory, it can transfer memory. It is our connection with source. It is everything, right? It's where the Akashic records are stored. It's where all it is. So, and we've now that I was watching some really interesting studies about, you've seen the guy in Japan who spoke to water and water changed, right? Or playing music to water, or of water changes it, right? Or even a sound can change water, right? Or many things. But this other lady was actually using petri dishes, and she brought her refrigerator into her bedroom, so it would be super quick. But you want to see if if her consciousness in her dream could create a picture and be captured in the water. And what she found, so she got these petri dishes. I'll send you her name after. And she, as soon as she woke up, she took the petri dishes, put them right in the freezer. And after they started to change form, there were pictures that were saved in the water fro-
Wow.
from her dream, right? And, yeah, and so now we're also around the world talking to water about different, like, asking it intellectual questions and freezing it, and we're getting hieroglyphics back. So, the water can speak, and I think it might be the missing link to what we're talking about.
Hey, it's an open debate for everything right now. But you mentioned something is right. Water is an element that is quite unique. It's much more abundant than the planet itself. I mean, it's huge. It's like most of the thing, but it's also capable of absorbing, transforming, modeling, changing forms. It's everywhere pretty much in different forms. So I think, you know, I'm not a scientist, but the way we use this kind of power is when you are with a client and you show that you're knowing what you're talking about. The client immediately gives you respect. It respects your knowledge because you're not selling. You are a font of knowledge. And they said they know what they're talking about.
But what happens, as my concern is, when people like us, we use AI, and it makes our lives easier and faster and better. But if we took the AI away, I could still do it by myself. I could still calculate that solar system. I can still do my own Google Ads. I can still do all these things myself, right? What about the change that's going to occur here in humanity as we start evolving and starting to not use and adapt, or I'll say refine and train these spidey senses that we have, like that you talked about, like the old good sales guys, they were taking notes about people's preferences, what they liked, they're married, their kids getting braces, and that was like the human, that was our archive. But what happens now when we're relying on this to be the smarts, and then it's gone, like the power goes out?
It's funny actually. You mentioned something that we had a discussion this morning about it. When you cannot see well, you go to the optometrist and he gives you sunglasses. When you cannot hear well, they give you an object that actually allows you to hear back again. If you cannot speak, what if you get the ability to speak? What if you cannot have motory sensation and you get something implanted into your brain? So the next evolution of that may be the symbiosis between human and learning machine or AI, however we want to call it, so that you and I will be speaking in Chinese
Ah,
with no problem whatsoever. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, this is crazy how good it is. And it's funny because you're right. On Google Translator is A plus B is you go to see it's linear. With this, instead it gets the meaning and it refers it back so that person understands it. And you're right. If we're speaking about red colors or white colors, I present myself with all white things at a festivity. I'm like, the Chinese will usually say, this is for funeral. It's not for that. But I did not know. Is that white is like, wow, is the biggest thing to do. So having that in place is like having something extra in you that makes you function a different way. And you may have more time to prepare your own food. Or at one point in time, you're going to have a robot that says, today I want to have a nice pizza. And the robot is actually making the pizza for you. And it may be even better than somebody from Italy itself. So the main idea is either we embrace it, and this is the evolution, but putting into place some boundaries because there's always going to be somebody that is bad, somebody that is vicious, or he might be actually thinking about how can I use this to create pain, to you know
right.
and so that is the fine line that we have not crossed yet, and I hope that the law steps into place not to limit but to put some boundaries Same thing that we have boundaries on gun. You must register your gun. You must not be crazy, otherwise you're not gonna get a gun. Same kind of things. Yes, you can have it because you're freedom to have it, but what if you're responsible? What if you're not responsible? What are you gonna do? So one way, it's all for humanity. It's beautiful. It's great. It's unique. You have all these possibilities. You're gonna have more time in your hand. You can make as much. Maybe we will not even need money anymore. Why would I need money when everything is done for me?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to pay for the power, I guess, right? But,
Absolutely.
so I'm gonna switch it a little. I'm gonna switch you up a little bit here. So, another topic that, I have another client and he has a product called Even Flow, and it's based off AI, but what it does, it's called connected conversations. So we were talking about you have to update the CRM and people might want to be on their phone, and there's Monday, there's Slack, there's all these different programs. Well, it connects them. So if you want to be on your phone, it will automatically take that message and put it into Salesforce. Or if I want to be on Slack, so it creates this connected conversation. But what the other part of what he does, and he wrote a book about it, he's a Forbes author, it's called the AI ecosystem revolution. And in it, he talks about supply chain, right? And some of the things called like the bullwhip, right? Where when and we have a big problem in the way that we get items, right? Either to the retailer, and there's just suppliers, there's manufacturers, there's all these different pieces that are part of it. And we saw that really kind of come to a needle or a point over COVID, right? Where the signals from us, out there in the world buying toilet paper like crazy, like we were never gonna, like we were gonna
Mhm.
and suffer the rest of our lives or whatever. I never understood that, but that
Neither did I.
that signaled, oh, we need more toilet paper. So all on the supply chain, they're starting to create, by the time all that toilet paper is made, it changes. We don't have that supply. Now we have oversupplies of toilet paper. They're on the shelves. So there's this bullwhip that happens. And there's other things with market signals that occur because people don't want to share data, right? We have this public data, but then, big industries, they are, holding on to data and not wanting to share it. And then we're kind of getting in a situation where people are bidding on, different types of minerals and other farm goods and things like that, but they're not telling the whole story of what they really need because they're trying to still be maintain this level of this is ours, or what's the word I'm looking for, you know, protection, I guess. What are your thoughts on how this is all going to work long term, and the sharing of data? Because, this AI is only as good as what we give it. And if we're not giving it real data, the right data, or up to date data, then what is the future going to be?
That is true if you're talking about the current AI level.
Mhm.
But it's not the same on AGI, and it will not be the same at all on ASI, because those are the second entities. They don't need you to tell them, go get me this data. They already know what to do. And the other one, the third one, is the one that can think ahead of the game.
But doesn't it need, like, in order to get to that next step, like with the
Now,
supply, how would it know, like, about global supply?
you know how to swim, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. So if I put you right in front of a pool, the first thing that you're going to say is, the depth is okay for me. Do I step into it? So you do all this calculation inside your mind. But that day, you did not know that you were supposed to do that. So if biologically you are geared to examine the environment, to examine, the depth, and say, well, I can swim, I can do that. It's the same thing with AI, AGI. AGI will know once it's posed in front of this thing to think. That's what the thinking part comes about.
Mm.
Almost the artificial is not any longer artificial, it's augmentative. It's
But it
like
would still, even if it's thinking though, it would still need, like, it still needs to know the weather. I mean, it doesn't need to know any of these things because how would it be
is
making a prediction?
becoming independent.
Huh.
That's what everybody that has started this whole industry says. Unless you regulate it, this is going to be on its own.
Right, because then my concern is that then that's when the evil can seep in, because the second it starts to think the wrong way, right, and it doesn't check itself on anything, like, it could know anything. It's like, oh, well, there's obviously a worldwide threat and like deploy nuclear weapons. I mean, whatever it's going to be, right?
Exactly.
But and then how useful is that to us?
I think actually we hope we're never gonna get to this. That's number one because it can be quite scary. But the idea of having a companion, a super smart companion that will give you devices and possibilities. Like if you do this, that's what's gonna happen. If you do this, and at the end, leaving that to human or to people that are empowered to actually make that kind of decisions. The human factor, until is valuable, it will make a big role. If somebody is not, then there is a problem. Right now, I don't see this problem at all. I mean, honestly, right now, it's all exciting. You can do all kinds of other things. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I always have is when I'm looking for an object to buy, a new computer, a new telephone, I always want the best price. I don't want to pay full price, obviously. And who are the people that may actually have this kind of things? So we created this little agent that goes out and checks the pricing and the market waves of this pricing based on the news that are coming out. So you get to, because you have to buy 5, 6, 10 of this kind of thing. So you want to try to save the 10%, 15%. When you go to the store, they're not going to get you the 10%, 15%. But when you go into the main street, then there are people that actually have purchased it. They don't like it. They want to sell it. So AI will make that decision for me. Guitars. I did it with a guitar because I was finishing up an album and I wanted a guitar that was like too expensive to buy. I'm like, I'm not going to buy that thing. So search it, do it. And all of a sudden it came back on Reverb and on some other places. The same guitar was about 900 instead of to be $3,600. And the first thing that comes to my human mind is like, it must be a fake.
Right.
And it wasn't. So I went, I checked it, I checked it. Is it a good thing? Absolutely. I save money. So why not? At the end, I made the decision, not AI. But at one point in time, there will be the ability for AI to make our own. I mean, it says purchase this kind of things, go and search everything. Actually, I needed to make chicken parmigiana. Actually, boom, next minute, I have everything inside of my kitchen. That is helpful. But when there is this human factor in place, when the human factor is taken out, that's when maybe it's gonna get scary.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about always recent, well, not always, but recently, the last couple of years, I've been looking at just how retail works in general. You know, when you go
Mhm.
to those Macy's or other stores, and they're just empty, and then you see, just so many items of clothing that you're like, who's buying this? You know, and there's so many bad decisions that were made along the way. Like someone made that print, and I know everyone's got their own taste, but the way that I'm thinking of it, it's like someone had to make that print, someone had to buy the print, someone had to
Yeah.
make this thing, and now they're all sitting on the shelf, and eventually they'll end up in, the discount store, and maybe then someone will buy it. But, there's definitely there's going to be some kind of shift of going back to the way we used to shop where, smaller retail locations, maybe you reserve a spot and they pull the items for you and you try them on and then they make it cut to order and send it to you. But what's going to happen with traditional retail? What's going to happen with all these different jobs that we are doing now if AI can do them all for us?
The first wave of layoffs, the first waves are the programmers. We had 132 people working for us. We only had, you have now 25. And the load of what we're doing is doubled.
Wow.
That's the first thing. The pricing are going down. To have an app for maybe $20,000, $25,000 right now, if you even say the word 25, they shoot you. They're like, I can go somewhere else much cheaper. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is agents. Agents, and what I mean by agents, like agent that actually go and search for these kind of things, supply agent, all this kind of thing, or finding out material. That's the second way because you can just say, I want this stuff, with this table, send a query, and back comes all kinds of information. So that's the second wave of that. The third one, which is the one that everybody may be scared about it, is imagine that you have $1,000 and you say, I want to make money off of this $1,000. Now, if you do it yourself and you go into the market and you point or something, a stock or whatever, you may lose or you may win. If you lose, you say, well, it's $1,000. But if you win, you say, wow, I made some money. What if you had the ability to actually assign that to an agent? And when I call about agents, actually, this bot that goes out and systematically makes trades day and night. Now you wake up in the next morning and you have $300,000. Would you be happy about it? And it's all real. Can it be done? Yeah, it can be done. Because if you have data and if you can anticipate the market, if it goes down or it goes up, you short it, you buy that can happen. And that is real time. That is when a lot of people says, this is going to be cool.
Wow.
Now, is there the availability? In some cases, there is.
Wow. Are you doing that? Are you doing that right now?
I'm doing a lot of things right now that I didn't do before. Let me put it this way, and because we're in it, so why don't we use it?
So what are some of the other things that you're working on that you're really excited about? Tell us where, here at AI Labs, like what are some.
Mental health is one of the hottest topics that we have right now
Hmm.
because you have tests that are already been done, but each one of them you have to look at it, read it, click, and keep on going on. Now imagine you have a conversation, a simple conversation with this agent that is on the other side. You have answered some questions and you're stuck because, especially kids today, they're all stuck. They don't know what to do, they're afraid to do it. How do you go about it guiding these people, but maintaining the ethical place? That's what we're actually facing right now. And we're about to finish just an app that is actually doing that. Allows you to converse, not only to answer, to call upon professionals to review what your finding is, but also to give you suggestions. Suggestion could be, this morning you don't seem to be yourself. Your heartbeat rate is too high. Did you have too much to drink last night? No, I didn't. Well, I did. Well, but maybe actually this kind of thing's like a friend almost. Now, the beauty about that is fun, right? But the other one is maybe addiction to this. And you do not want to talk to human anymore. You want to talk to a machine.
Well, aren't they already doing that in Japan? I mean, I saw years ago,
Some.
it's like, dating, like,
All the dating habits.
and they were, I saw them at a restaurant and they were all like eating together and they were all with their virtual dates on their phone. And I mean, and it was like real, like they were really in love with this phone,
Because you develop feelings.
you know?
I mean, if somebody speaks to you the way that you want to hear it, you cannot stop the human emotions. They will fall in love.
Do you think that AI is capable of falling in love?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's a biological function, absolutely. But falling in love, I don't know. It takes something the human only I think they have. Love is an undefinable emotion. I'm like old enough to actually figure it out.
Well, it's a frequency. If we think about like, everything's a frequency, right? And particles of matter and they vibrate, everything's got a frequency. And so do every emotion has a frequency.
Well,
Love is a frequency and they're a biological machine and they can sense and they can input, then I think that it's probable that they could develop feelings.
develop feelings, yes, but how did they induce feelings on you? The touch. They can do it via auditory, visuals, verbal, but the touch is still
I'll touch you. I guess we need to get them into machines. Yeah.
you got it. So we gotta a machine that looks exactly like I want the perfect girlfriend. And this perfect girlfriend does exactly the way you want it. And it changes according to whatever is your mood.
Wow.
It's is it too far out? Yeah, I think it's too far out that one. But the idea just that somebody came up with the movie Her. Her was a movie that was like somebody falling in love with the computer. Now that was elementary, but this is it might be at one point in time that we have a robot that looks like us. They are among us, maybe, and
Wow.
intelligence is everything.
Intelligent. Yeah, I'm with.
And we want to live longer, work less, earn more, and knowing the right things.
It's true. It's a bright world. It's a bright world out there. So, what are you most excited about? I guess there's a lot to be excited about, but what this is, how far are we away, until we see that there, is we're getting a robot for our home?
AGI is going to be appearing maybe within the next 6 months, maybe even less than that. The right mix are in place. The right infrastructure, the solar power and all this they're going to be in place. Within 1 year, maximum 1.5 year, you're going to see events of ASI. After ASI, there is conscience AI. We hope we're not going to be alive to see that. And trust me, because it's, no, they can basically actually, they may decide if you live or die.
Wow.
You're not worth it because on the system, you're not good. You cost too much money for the health insurance. Out.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the show? Um, oh, God, it was Orlando Bloom was in it, and it was Man on the High Castle.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
and so what with, like, the alternate universe where the Nazis win,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the
Yeah.
difference that, yep, "Oh, you have a condition, out," it doesn't matter if you're what's happening.
That is right. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's an exciting time. Let me put it this way, because it's beautiful. I mean, a lot of the people that go towards programming, I tell them, you know what, it's worthless right now. I didn't know Python. I started to learn a little bit about Python and Angular and Node.js. Now I can just ask the prompt and it gives me the whole entire program, tested and everything else. I'm like, whoa, it took me 1 minute.
Yeah, now the goal is to get people who can, be able to use the AI, right? Because the thing is when it has to be implemented into other systems, that's when you use
Yes.
or to do that, right? But how many it's not like a surefire job, like you're gonna be, "Oh, no, set and forget," right? Yeah.
Right now, it's still at the infant stage, but 6 months from now, you will see it.
Wow.
You will see. We deal with a lot of people from Pakistan, Croatia, and they're really good at what they're doing. But they admit that they're actually right now using AI to develop.
Oh, wow.
Why wouldn't I do it? They do it better than I do.
Do you think that there's gonna be, an energy crisis? Because, now, I mean, not to make it, political, but if some of these, the tax credits and some of these, different projects that were planned, in America are not able to go through because the tax credits, end. And we're trying to get, coal and other things set up, but those can take a long time, right? How it sounds like this is moving really, really fast. Do we have enough power, to get to this next level? Because I know we're kind of in like almost like a space race of America. I mean, who's the leader right now? Who do we think is going to emerge as this global leader in AI?
Well, as much, I mean, the growth of AI does not depend on money, but it depends on energy.
Yeah.
A company out of Northern Europe decided to develop a solar farm 4 years ago. Not today, not yesterday, 4 years ago. And they are doing computational power that is elevated, very elevated. So it means that that works. Now, it works on an old model of AI. The new model may require less energy. You need energy to computational power. You need that. Now, coal is not going to give you that. Solar, Yes. Solar, I think, is the answer. I mean, I have solar in this house anyhow right now, but the idea is the answer to a lot of things because it's abundant.
It's the best.
So why not I mean, you have a roof. Every single roof should actually be
That point, like, I'm not really that worried about the tax credits personally. I mean, I wrote a book. My second book is coming out next month at the show, the big RE Plus
covered.
show in Vegas. You should come. You'd love it.
I would love that.
You should come, and Theron will be there too, and Jocelyn. We're all going to be there at the show.
Yes.
But the reason I was really excited about writing the book right now is because I think a lot of people are panicked. But the product is too good. It's like the ROI is too good. Like you don't need tax credits to make this make money, right? And I think the investors will see that.
I honestly, when there was, if something is good, you don't care how much it costs.
Right.
You care about the results of that. So if the solar panels are good, what are they going to do? 30%, 20% when I can get so much out of it? The ROI, you're right, is higher than the actual cost that you put out. At the beginning, it was to get people to understand it. I think everybody's got the idea now. It's just like, this thing is real. I mean, it's not a joke any longer.
There you have it. Well, thank you so much for being here. How do people get a hold of you?
You can actually just directly text me direct on LinkedIn, Alex M. Orlando Gmail, Alex M. Orlando on the LinkedIn. I have academia.edu. I do a lot of publications on this kind of things, and through the website itself, ainitionlabs.com.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here today. This is a wonderful conversation. And
My pleasure.
my listeners, please join me next week as I interview another industry expert in a topic to help you succeed on and offline. Thank you so much for liking this content. We're just approaching 30,000 YouTube followers. We couldn't do that without you. So please subscribe, like on your favorite streaming channels, and I will see you next week in the Pixels. Aloha. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Covert Code podcast. To stay up to date with all our future episodes, follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means everything to us. Please take a moment to leave a review and share our content with your friends and colleagues on social media. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more digital innovators like yourself. See you in the pixels. Aloha.